You don't really feel it happen. You tap the screen, the little wheel spins, and a number that used to be in your checking account is now in your savings, and somewhere in your chest, something loosens, the way it does when you lock the front door at night. Done, safe. You set the phone face down on the counter and you don't think about it again, because that's the whole point of putting money somewhere, so you can stop thinking about it. Or maybe today it's cash. Maybe you're standing at the counter and you slide a bill across the laminate. Let's make it $1, a single ordinary dollar, soft at the corners, because it's easier to follow one than to follow 1,000. The teller takes it without looking at it. She's done this 900 times since morning. The bill goes into the drawer slides shut, and on your receipt, a number ticks up by 1. You feel that small animal satisfaction of having put something away, stored, tucked in, yours but resting. And here is where the comfortable picture lives, the one almost everybody carries without ever inspecting it. Somewhere in that building, behind a thick door, there is a place where your money is. Not money like yours, your money. The specific dollar you handed over, sitting in the dark with all the other dollars, waiting patiently for the day you come back for it. You picture a vault, you picture stacks. You picture a box maybe with your name on a little card, the way a safe deposit drawer has your name on it. The bank in this picture is a very serious closet. You pay nothing to keep your coat there. They watch the coat. When you want the coat, you come and get the coat. Clean, honest, a safe box. It's a good picture. It's calm, it lets you sleep, and it is almost entirely wrong in a way that won't hurt your feelings tonight, but might change how you look at that little upticking number by the time we're done. Because watch the dollar. Actually watch it, not the number on your screen, the thing itself. The second it crossed the counter, it stopped being a coat in a closet and became something else, a promise written in your favor and a tool placed in someone else's hand. You didn't deposit an object into storage. You handed over an asset and accepted in return an IOU, a line in a database that says the bank owes you $1, payable when you ask. That's not a metaphor, that's the actual legal shape of it. The instant your dollar landed in that drawer, it legally became the bank's dollar. Yours is the claim, theirs is the cash. Sit with that for a second, because it's the hinge the whole thing turns on. You thought you were storing it, you were handing it over. Those are not the same act, and the difference is the entire story. It's the difference between leaving your car in a garage and selling your car for a receipt that says you can buy one back later. The car's gone, a car will be there when you return. Just not that one, and not because it was waiting. You didn't feel any of this happen, of course. Nothing in the app warned you. The teller didn't lean in and whisper that the bill she just dropped in the drawer no longer belonged to you in any way you'd recognize. The receipt didn't say, "Thank you for the loan." Everything about the moment was built to feel like storage. The heavy doors, the quiet carpet, the word savings itself, which sounds like a thing kept rather than a thing released. The friendliness is real. The safety in a narrow sense is even real. But the picture in your head and the thing that actually happened have quietly come apart, and you walked out the door without noticing the gap. So the dollar's gone into the drawer, and you've gone home, and the number on your screen says it's resting. But a dollar that's legally theirs and not yours isn't the kind of thing an institution lets lie still in the dark. A drawer is not a bed. The building doesn't earn anything from a dollar that sleeps. Which leaves the question you never thought to ask, because the picture in your head answered it for you before you could. If your dollar isn't sitting in a box with your name on it, if it's already quietly somebody else's cash, then where does it actually go tonight? So where does it go? You picture it still inside the building, maybe moved to a bigger drawer, a back room, deeper into the same quiet closet. It isn't. By the time you're home heating up dinner, your dollar has already left, not figuratively. The bank doesn't wait for a clerk to sort it in the morning. The system moves while you're choosing a fork. Here's the plain mechanism, no conspiracy in it. Banks don't keep your deposit sitting in a vault. They keep a sliver on hand for the people who'll ask for cash that day, and the rest becomes the raw material for lending. Your dollar lands in the drawer at 4 p.m. And by that night, it's part of the money someone else is borrowing. A car loan 2 towns over, a kitchen renovation, a balance on a stranger's credit card. The vault you pictured was never a vault. It was a doorway. Money comes in one side and walks out the other, and the building's whole skill is making sure both doors are never busy at once. So picture the stranger. Somebody you'll never meet signs a loan tonight, and the funds that clear into their account are, in part, the dollar you slid across the counter at 4 o'clock. They don't know your name. You don't know theirs. But your dollar is now in their pocket, doing work, buying their refrigerator, covering their rent gap, sitting on their card. It clocked in the second you left. It did not nap. It did not wait. There was no moment where it sat idle in the dark thinking of you. And notice what you were doing the whole time it worked? Nothing. You were driving home. You were eating. You were asleep. Your money never waited for you. It clocked in the moment you left, and it stayed on the clock all night, every night for as long as it saved. The thing you filed under rest was the opposite of rest, which is where the small cold feeling starts, the one you can't quite name. Because the safety you felt walking out, that loosening in your chest, the locked door calm was real to you, but from the building side, it was something else. It was the feeling that keeps you from asking questions. A depositor who believes his money is sleeping doesn't wonder what it earns while it's awake. The comfort wasn't a gift, it was the condition of the arrangement. You felt safe, and that feeling is exactly what a free lender feels right before he finds out he's lending. Because here's the thread you haven't pulled yet. Your dollar is out there tonight working in a stranger's hands. Someone is paying to use it. The question you walk into next is simple, and it's the one that changes everything. Paying how much, and how much of that ever finds its way back to you. So you do the thing you never do. You go look, not at your own account and at the other side. The borrower's side. You already know your dollar is out there in someone's hands tonight, so you ask the plain question, what's that person paying to use it? You don't have their statement, but you don't need it. The rate is public. The average credit card in 2026 charges somewhere around 21% a year. That's not a penalty rate, not a late fee. That's the ordinary price of carrying a balance, the price stamped on the dollar you handed over at 4 o'clock. Your dollar in a stranger's pocket is renting for about 21%. Then you flip your own statement over and look for the number you never look for. The one the bank pays you for the privilege of using your money all night. You scroll, you find it in small type, 0.4%, maybe less. Plenty of the big accounts pay 0.05%, which rounds in any honest sense to nothing. Set them side by side because that's the whole story in two numbers. Same dollar, same bank. Same night, the borrower pays 21% to use it. You get paid 0.4% to supply it. You lent it at almost nothing. They lent it at almost everything. The difference is the building. Run it on real money because percentages hide the sting. Say you've got $10,000 in savings, a serious cushion, years of skipped dinners. At 0.4%, that earns you about $40 a year. $40. A tank of gas and a sandwich. Meanwhile, that same $10,000 lent back out across cards and loans can earn the bank well into the hundreds, even past $1,000 on the spread alone. You funded it. You got the sandwich. They got the rest, and they got it using money that's still, on paper, yours. And here's where the comfortable picture finally cracks because you try to climb back into it. You tell yourself, well, that's the fee for safety. The FDIC insurance, the building, the app, the fraud protection. Surely the 0.4% is what's left after they cover all that. That's the reasonable story. You want it to be true. But the spread isn't a trimming on the side of the business. The spread is the business. The gap between what they pay you and what they charge the borrower isn't an accident of running a bank. It's the reason the bank exists. Everything else is plumbing around that one number, which reframes you completely and not gently. You walked in thinking you were a customer, someone being kept safe, a guest whose code is watched. You're not. You're a supplier. You're the cheapest source of lendable money in the entire building. Cheaper than any investor, cheaper than the Fed, because you supply it at 0.4% and ask no questions. The borrower is the customer. You're the raw material. So before we go on, one quiet question, just you and the screen. Do you actually know what your own bank pays you to borrow your money? Not the borrower's rate. Yours. Most people have never once looked. Go look later. For now, stay here because the number gets stranger when you stop watching $1 and pull back to see all of them at once. Now stop watching your $1. Step back until the whole building comes into view and then keep stepping back until you can see the street, the city, the country. Because the thing you just watched happen to your dollar isn't a thing that happened to your dollar. It's a thing that happens to every dollar, every account, every night, all at once. Your $10,000 was one drop. Behind you in line that afternoon were thousands of people sliding their own bills across their own counters, each one feeling that same locked door calm, each one walking out believing in the same closet. Multiply your $40 sandwich by a few million depositors and you stop seeing a closet. You start seeing an engine. That's the part nobody frames for you. The bank isn't a place that holds money. It's a machine that runs on money it doesn't pay for. The fuel costs it about 0.4%. The fuel is you and everyone who filed their savings under resting. The genius of it, and it is a kind of genius, is that the fuel volunteers. It lines up. It thanks the teller. It calls the act of handing over free lendable cash by the warm word saving, and it sleeps better for having done it. No other industry gets its raw material to show up smiling and ask for a receipt. Hold the two faces of it in one hand. There's the face that mailed you the statement with 0.4% in small type. Patient, friendly, the one with the soft carpet and the app that congratulates you on your balance. And there's the face that mailed the borrower a statement with 21% on it. Firm, exact, no congratulations. Same building, same logo, same dollar moving between the two letters. One face calls you a saver, so you'll supply cheap. The other calls the borrower a customer, so he'll pay dear. You were on the cheap side the whole time and never saw the other letter because they don't send you both. And the machine doesn't rest, which is the part that finally lands cold. There's no night shift, no off season, no hour where the dollar clocks out. While you slept, it worked. While you forgot about it, it worked. The $40 a year it threw back to you was never gratitude. It was the running cost of keeping you supplying, just enough yield that you don't go looking, not a cent more than it takes to keep you calm. It wasn't holding your money, it was running on it. So the question stops being about the bank and turns quietly back toward you. If this is simply what a dollar does the moment you hand it over, if it's going to work all night regardless, then the only thing left to decide is the one thing you actually control. On whose terms does it sleep? You don't burn anything down. That's the temptation, to feel cheated, to make it a scandal, to swear off the whole system. But there's no scandal here. Nothing was hidden in a back room. It was all in the small type the entire time. The FDIC insurance is real. The safety is real. The ability to move your money on a Tuesday afternoon is real and worth something. The bank didn't lie to you. It just let you keep a picture that worked in its favor, and you, like almost everyone, never turned the picture over. So you do the undramatic thing. You open the app one more time, calm now, and you actually read it. You find the 0.4% you'd never noticed. And then you do the small piece of work the comfortable picture had talked you out of for years. You look at what else exists. A high yield account paying 3.5%, 4%, same FDIC insurance, same safety, money still movable, sitting right there in the open the whole time, used by the people who looked. Not a secret, not a scheme. Just the difference between a depositor who knows what his dollar does and one who doesn't. Run it once, because the number is the whole reward. That same $10,000 at 0.4% gave you about $40 a year. At 4%, it gives you closer to $400. Same money, same safety, same building even. The only thing that changed is that you stopped supplying for free and started naming your price. Nearly 10 times the yield, sitting behind nothing but the fact that you finally read the statement. And here's the thing that lands once here and nowhere else: the bank never changed. Not for a second. The spread was always 21% against 0.4%. The dollar always worked all night. The machine ran exactly the same while you believed in the closet as it does now that you don't. The only thing that moved in this entire story is what you understand. That's the whole arc. Not a betrayal corrected, just a picture finally turned over. So follow the dollar one last time. The one we started with, soft at the corners, slid across the laminate at 4 o'clock. It's still out there tonight, still in a stranger's hands, still working while you sleep. That part never stops. But now it's working on a number you chose at a rate you read for terms you set with your eyes open. Same dollar, same night, different lender standing behind it. The $40 version of you handed it over and called it safe. This version handed it over and called it by its name, which leaves only the honest question, the one to sit with after the screen goes dark. Right now, tonight, while you're not watching, what is your money earning for someone else? And have you ever once decided whether that's the deal you wanted? If following $1 this far told you something you'd never been shown, stay for the next one. There's always another picture worth turning over, and we turn one over every week.